Yeah, we're the Washington football team.
That is right. We are the Washington football team. We are #1 in the NFC East, and we are the Wow, brought to you by Fresh Fine Wine. I'm Jude Kenny, and joining me are my co-hosts, Stephanie Abdeshahian and Janine Samuels. That was Coach Ron Rivera answering the question that's been asked all season, who are we? What is our identity? And he answered it very clearly. We are the Washington football team. How are you? Yeah. We have an exciting show coming up today. We're going to discuss not #1, not #2, not #3, but number 4W in a row for the Washington football team.
Yeah, and it's so exciting, right? So a 4-game winning streak has not been done since 2016. Plus, coming up later, you're definitely going to want to listen to our Wow Spotlight. We are going to be talking to Anita Abdeshahian. She is a true Wow woman in every sense of the word. She trains Marines headed to the Middle East on terrorism, and she also runs 3 wellness and anti-aging practices in DC. We joked about it, but we never thought we would actually say terrorism and Botox in the same sentence. Absolutely amazing interview, an amazing woman.
You can't put her in a box. That's not happening.
No. She's a rock star, so definitely hang around for that. But let's talk about this win. The Washington football team earned, I say that with my chest. We earned that 23-15 win over the 49ers. Let's get right into it. Obviously, the wow was the defense.
It was our defense. And our standouts from the game were Chase Young, Montez Sweat, and Cameron Curl. And what's cool about Chase is before the game, he's the team hype man in the huddle after warmups. In between plays, you can see him yelling to fire up his teammates, going up and down the sidelines when he's not playing. So his demeanor and talent mixed together is just fantastic.
Yeah, and results, right? Y'all know that I'm the data girl. I can't help it, but literally the results speak for themselves. 6 tackles, a sack, 2 passes down defended, 1 forced fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries, and a touchdown. Like, seriously, Chase is the first rookie in NFL history and 3rd overall to achieve last game's accomplishment since 1999. That was my first year as the first lady of football. Back then, we were called the Redskinettes. That's how long ago it was. So just super excited. As you all can probably hear in our voices, we are really hyped. We are just so excited for these wins and for what we're seeing on that field.
And what's really exciting is we're talking about rookies other than Sweat, but Cam Curl was a 7th round pick. I mean, these guys are playmakers and they are good. And what I love about it most is watching the press conference after the interviews after the game and just seeing the chemistry and the camaraderie. I mean, the guys are in the background of every interview, hyping up their man. I mean, you can really feel the team and the family. And it's just fun to watch. Like, it's been a long time. I've been cheering for 6 years. It's been a long time since it's been fun to watch Washington football. And I feel it. Like, this team is special and it is different. And what I also love seeing is our Washington football team social media. After the game, I literally just go to the Washington football feed and just keep refreshing it because it is so fun to troll the other teams because they hand it to them. The Sack Brothers post with Sweat and Chase Young, a play on Step Brothers. Schitt's Creek is one of my favorite shows of all time. So I was constantly reposting that. I just, I love to see it. It's fun to be a part of this franchise right now. But let's look ahead. We have a huge game coming up, obviously, against the Seahawks. I'm hoping to make it number 5 in a row against Russell Wilson. So what do we got to do? It's going to be a big one.
We got to do what the Giants did, but better. We need to make offensive touchdowns in addition to our defensive ones. As you know, we won from our defense side, so we need to play strong on both sides. And my positive thought that you were just talking about are these young players. We're showing we are Washington football because we're stepping up, whether it's a position that there's an injury, running back or quarterback, or one man like Terry or Chase Young are triple, double covered. There's another new formidable player that is stepping up and doing what they need to do. It's that there's no I in team. We are Washington football.
Right. And we are. You're absolutely right. I feel like we are playing together as a unit and for one another. On our rally that we had, Stephanie, I know you remember this, but one of our fans mentioned the fact that we're just not out there playing football and we're not just out there playing against the other team. We are literally playing for one another as a team, as a unit. Coach Rivera said it, like, we earned this. We earned being number 1, and we just have to make sure that we continue doing the things that we've done to get to where we are right now. So that's what we have to do. And I'm confident that it will happen.
And Ron Rivera said it as well. Coach said, we are that no man left behind mentality. You know, when we see, like in this game last week, obviously, when the offense was struggling, our defense stepped up. So that is the mentality of this team. It's like when someone is struggling, you help them. But for this game against Russell Wilson, we haven't seen a dynamic quarterback in a little bit. So we're going to need to have a complete game in order to continue this streak. So it's going to be a fun one to watch. But the fun thing about this is we control our destiny. It is in our hands right now, and we can do it one game at a time. As we mentioned here on the WOW, we like to give you access to the Washington football team. Check out what Jeremy Sprinkle would be doing if he wasn't playing football.
Hey y'all, this is Amber, WOW member from Chattanooga, Tennessee. I was just wanting to ask Jeremy Sprinkle, what would you be doing if you had not been drafted in 2017 and were playing pro football? What would your career be?
If I wasn't playing in NFL, I've always wanted to be an actor for some reason. I don't know. I think maybe I'd be acting or something. Like that would be my dream job, but I'd probably just be a football coach if I wasn't in the NFL though, honestly.
Has your business been affected by COVID-19? Have you considered reducing or moving your office space? Then it's time to call Victory Van. We provide the best service and price with flexible options for your company's moving and storage needs. Visit victoryvan.com to get your free moving and storage quote today. For corporate storage and moving, it's always the right move to choose Victory Van. That's victoryvan.com, Victory Van Corporation, delivering excellence for 75 years and proud partner of the Washington football team.
Finch Services Incorporated, recognized in its industry as a world-class organization, is the exclusive supplier of John Deere golf and sports turf maintenance equipment for the Mid-Atlantic region. In business since 1945, Finch helps golf course and sports turf managers maintain some of the most exclusive playing surfaces in the region. Experience the Finch advantage for yourself. Contact one of our golf and sports turf sales specialists to see how we can help you maintain your field of dreams. Go to finchturf.com for more information.
At RTS, game day strategy doesn't stop when the whistle blows. RTS delivers smarter, more responsible waste and recycling services. As an official partner of the Washington football team, RTS is connecting the team and FedEx Field with sustainable solutions to care for the community and the environment. RTS, a better waste company. Find out more at rts.com.
Welcome to WOW Spotlight. Joining us is Anita Abdeshahian. Woo, got it. Co-founder and practice director of Javan Wellness. Anita co-founded Javan in Washington, D.C. in October of 2018 and has led Javan's expansion to 3 stunning, yes, I've been to all 3 of them, locations. She also has worked 12 years for the Department of Defense, training Marines deploying to the Middle East. Anita is a member of WOW and supports the WOW community through her company as well. Javan Wellness has also sponsored the First Ladies of Football for 2 seasons. Anita, welcome to the WOW.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
I'm thrilled to have you on here. You know, I'm a huge fan of yours. You're such a mentor to a lot of the First Ladies, and I'm sure a lot of women in the area. But let's just kick it off from the top. You have such a cool background. Let's talk about your journey and how you ended up where you are today.
Okay, sure. Well, I was actually born in Iran. I was raised, I know a lot of people think it's funny, I was raised in Oklahoma. So there's like a Persian cowgirl connection over here. But I was raised in Oklahoma, and, you know, I really had the typical immigrant, you know, story. You know, my family didn't really come with much. I was really mentored by my own father. He really had a dream, you know, to build the American dream. I really grew up with 2 completely different backgrounds. I was raised in Oklahoma, but I also went back to Iran pretty frequently. And so I was between 2 completely different cultures. And I think that kind of helped my ability to be able to understand 2 sides of you know, different stories. And so I took that with me, especially whenever I finally got into my DoD career and training Marines and whatnot. I always thought that my personal background was really my biggest strength, mainly because, you know, if I'm teaching Marines on what life is like on the other side, I felt like I really had a pretty good advantage with my own personal story.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about that though. So DoD training of Marines, deploying to the Middle East. I definitely understand the connection. I definitely can see how and why you would be a perfect fit for that role, but how did you even get into that role?
Well, so I knew in college, I always wanted to get into something security related. I have a bachelor's and 2 master's degrees that are pretty much focused on the Middle East and the security environment, terrorism focused as well. And I felt like there was always like this, this energy in me that kind of wanted to get into something that was a little bit, courageous. My parents kind of thought that it was weird for, I'm Persian, so they kind of have a certain stereotype of what type of business women get into. But I actually loved, getting in the dirt. I found out that there were some opportunities. I started writing papers. I started trying to publish a little bit about my knowledge of the region. I've worked in actually a few different areas of the DoD, but of course my last more recent experience has been with the Marine Corps. And, I always like that getting in the dirt experience. And so I will say this, my former experience professionally being with, literally like 95% men, and then, jumping into something like more med spa related, being with only women, it has been like two completely different worlds for me. But I have to say that a lot of times I do miss, getting into that. And I actually really embraced it. I enjoyed it. I loved what I did. I knew that I was kind of a unique person in that environment. And I think that people really respected the information that they got.
That's awesome. So how did you then take this? I mean, such a great experience with training, Marine Corps. How did you then make that leap of faith to go and open a business when you didn't have business experience previously?
Yeah, I had no business experience. The only business experience I had was watching my dad. And Persians tend to run their businesses kind of crazy. So I don't know if that was like the best example, because we tend to obsess over a lot of things. But I had no experience at all. My brother, who's a physician, we call him Dr. A, he actually, wanted to start something that was a little bit different. He's a pain management doctor. But I knew that I was always, into receiving aesthetic treatments. And so we started this idea in our business, Javan Wellness, really from both a patient and a medical provider's perspective. When my brother came to me with this idea, I immediately grabbed it and said, I want to be a part of this because I'm such a good recipient. I've, been doing laser hair removal. Look, I'm Persian, so we get hairy. I've been doing laser hair removal since I was like 15. I'm 36 now. And, all the things that I've done, I really tried to bring my own experience of that into this practice and really see it from a patient's perspective. I think that helps a lot, especially because, in Oklahoma, I'm a woman of color too. And a lot of the things, the treatments that I received, they really weren't for me. Like I had my skin burned. I had a number of issues because, things were just not catered to my skin type. So I said, when I open a business, I want to make sure that if it's for aesthetic treatments, that really anybody can get treated. And so what I actually did to prepare myself to get into the business role, people think I'm crazy, but I really studied the crap out of Wall Street Journal. I studied the crap out of Forbes magazine. I knew I wasn't going to be the medical provider or the clinician in any way. So the best thing that I could do was be good at business. I really wanted to learn how to treat staff. I started reading all these different pointers about, the do's and don'ts of being a business owner and managing people. And I'll tell you, I'm not perfect at it. I am still learning every single day. I make mistakes every single day. In fact, I had a staff meeting last week where I actually told them, hey, these were my mistakes that I made, and this is how we're going to improve going forward. So even though I did all the things that I thought were right in studying and preparing, I also accepted the fact that it wasn't going to be perfect. And I think that's pretty important.
I love that you said that. I think we talk about it here all the time, but it's very important as leaders to be vulnerable and to show that you are human and you will make mistakes. I think that's how, especially relating it to the Washington football team, that's especially how Coach Ron Rivera has really gotten this team to where they are this season, is owning those things and being transparent. Since you've studied so much, I want to ask, do you have any advice for women that may have interest in opening their own business or just balancing relationships and family in general?
Yeah, actually. And I have my own advice, and I'll tell you, other people have had their advice, and I've listened to their advice, and it didn't exactly work for me. So one thing that I will say is that if you have a vision for something, and it doesn't matter if you are just so motivated by, you want to be an esthetician, or you're motivated by making jewelry or whatever it is. If you have a vision, there's going to be people discouraging you from your vision. Like that's just flat out something that's going to happen. Don't let that stop you from what you want to do. If you're the type of person who will stay up all night like I did to achieve a goal, I think that says a lot, and you're going to be going places. the advice that I received that I wasn't really happy about, because there's always this question about how do you balance as a woman. You know, we're expected to do a lot. I mean, we've got a bunch of different responsibilities, especially, you know, I don't have children yet, but if you have children, there's a bunch of responsibilities that come with that too. So can you be the perfect mother, the perfect wife, the perfect business owner, have the perfect body, have the perfect face, all this other stuff, right? And everyone that I spoke to kept giving me the mentality of those things can all be achieved. And, you know, the reality of the situation is that it's okay if that doesn't happen. I've been hearing too much about people saying you can do it all. Wake up and get in front of the mirror and tell yourself you're going to do everything today. Well, the reality is that, first of all, I don't have time to look in the mirror and talk to myself. Secondly, I wake up and I look at my list and I say, these are the things that I have time to do today. And there are a lot of things that I am not going to get to. It is not realistic to think that you can just be Wonder Woman every day. It's okay if you missed your workout. It's okay if you didn't get to make dinner for your husband. There are some things that you're going to have to sacrifice, especially if you're going to be a business owner. And in my case, you know, I always wanted to grow my business, you know, move up, do a lot more, make sure that my business was constantly growing. And if you're constantly thinking about the future and how to adapt and move forward, you're not going to have time to do everything. And that's okay. It's totally fine. We're all human. I really do get upset sometimes whenever I see the whole, you know, giving women unrealistic expectations. Because what if you don't do everything on your list that day? What if you didn't get to the gym? You can't beat yourself up about that. Those things are to be expected. If you're going to be successful in one thing, you may have to sacrifice a little bit in something else. And having a good partner along the way is also not a bad thing. My husband is a saint. I think that I feel bad for him a lot. I come home late from work. When you have staff, it's kind of like you have babies. And you constantly have to deal with not only the professional stuff that comes with having staff, but also your staff has personal issues too, that you really have to, you know, kind of walk with them a little bit on and be understanding to them. I will say that, you know, I'm one of those believers who thinks that, you know, men and women are different. The way we think is very different. I mean, I know that gets into a political discussion, but this is just my personal opinion. I think we are different. I think that we get emotionally attached. I think that we process things and overanalyze. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. But what I will say is that that's actually our advantage. The fact that we do, you know, get emotional about stuff, we can relate to our staff better. We can be better managers. We're very nitpicky about a lot of things. If you've seen any of my locations, I've designed every single one of them from top to bottom. If I were to give my brother the responsibility of designing this clinic, it would look totally different. It would look so dry. So I think that women just have a way, you know, emotions are good, overanalyzing things are good. That's not to say that, you know, there's no men who do that. But I do think that sometimes we do have some unique traits that may work to our advantage as being businesswomen.
What you said about just giving yourself grace, right? Because, you know, I have my to-do list right here, front and back. The things are not checked off. There's lists and lists of them like this. And I get stressed out.
Me out.
I know. I'm
stressed.
myself flipping it, but it stresses. And I think it's wonderful for you to point out the fact that you have to give yourself grace. And so we talk a lot on, you know, our show about, you know, just picking 2 or 3 things that you want to accomplish that day. And so I love that you said that, but kind of to take that a step further, I know one thing that sometimes we have trouble doing is taking care of ourselves. So we're so busy filling everyone else's cups that we forget about self-care. We forget about going to wellness and getting, you know, just settling into ourselves and treating ourselves. So why is that so important for us as women to do, to just take a time out for us?
You know, and that also goes back to the question of what are you willing to sacrifice today? That's a question I ask myself every morning. What are you willing to sacrifice today? I would hope, and, you know, I'm guilty of this too. I may say some things, but, you know, I'm guilty of making mistakes. But hopefully the things that you sacrifice are not the things that, you know, help you take care of yourself. Because if you can't be mentally, physically there, then you're not going to get to all those other things. You know, sometimes I realize that I've picked the wrong things on my to-do list to do, and it's really paralyzed my ability to do everything else in life. And you really have to pick and choose the things that make, you know, you feel good. Whether that's calling your mom and having a conversation with her. Like my mom is on my to-do list every single day. I don't always get to it, but I always need to call my mom. My dad too, my family, checking in on people. And you'd be surprised how much, just talking to someone is also a part of self-care. For too long, I would say the first year of me owning a business, I did everything so solo and I kept everything to myself. I had my stresses and I went to the gym pretty frequently. I consider myself to be an avid gym goer, but you have to we're human. You have to have interactions with people that are not just business based. And so it really is important for you to take care of yourself mentally, and also physically too. Like I said, try to pick the right things on your to-do list. You won't get to everything, but at the end of the day, the next morning, the sun is still going to come up. You have time to do something.
So pick one self-care item on that list, right? We'll try.
Yeah. For me, it's always Botox. But not...
We were joking the other day about just the ironic nature of like Marines, terrorism, and saying Botox in the same sentence. Like, how does that even happen? But it happens with Anita.
Listen, the funnier thing that happens is having the Botox conversation with Marines. You'd be surprised how many of them get interested.
I bet.
Anita, unfortunately, our time is somehow coming to an end, but before we let you go, we always ask two questions on our show to our guests, and we want to get to them. So quickly, can you tell us, what advice would you tell your younger self if you had the chance?
That's a tough one. I would say quit overanalyzing a lot of things. I know I said that was an advantage, but sometimes there's an extreme to that. Do you. I know that sounds super cliche, but if you want to do something and other people are swaying you and you're constantly analyzing, well, what do they mean by that? You always want to think about other people's opinions. Like, I'm super guilty of that. I am constantly thinking about what other people think of me and what other people think about my business. And if I just have the confidence in knowing that I know what I'm doing and I've built something pretty nice and I have success in it. If I just, keep my confidence going, I think that's pretty important. Sometimes we just let other people's opinions sway us too much. And like the example that I gave with a woman telling me you can do it all, and every time I didn't do it, I would stress out about it. So I think that, you just kind of understanding your own process is really important.
Keeping those blinders on and staying focused on it.
Exactly.
And our last thing is, how do you motivate yourself daily? Is there a ritual or something that you do? For me, it's waking up and chugging coffee. Is there anything that you do?
Coffee is definitely important. I think that just kind of reaffirming what your goals are is pretty important. That sounds super cliche, and I'm not like one of these people that is just trying to throw something for, women to latch on to some sort of a saying. But it is important for you to kind of have your goal in mind. And if things don't work out that day, sometimes you have to have a really crappy day. And those things are to be expected for you to get to the end result. If I know that I'm opening another location, I know that I'm going to have a lot of stress and headache and people that I just probably don't want to deal with for the next 3 or 4 or 5 days, maybe even weeks, until I get to that point. So just kind of keep your goal in mind and reaffirm those goals.
Yeah, such a good point, right? Like having those goals in the forefront of your mind and then the why behind those goals. Because then when you have a not so great day, you're like grounded in your why. Well, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this to live a more fulfilled life. I'm doing this for X, Y, Z. And that makes, the bad days not seem so bad because it's going to all be worth it when you, eventually get to that why. So perfect advice.
Anita, before we let you go, can you plug where we can follow you, where our listeners can see Javan?
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow my Instagram, my business Instagram page at Javan Wellness. That's JAVAN Wellness. You can also follow me, Anita Glampreneur. I also have my personal page. I'm happy to connect with anyone. I'm happy to give, other women some business advice personally, or even happy to give women some nice Botox and facials and all sorts of good IV hydration treatments and other things like that.
Hydrofacial.
Yeah, Anita, you're actually on my to-do list. Speaking of to-do list, it's I'll need a book appointment. So I will be calling you. That'll be great to get to.
That's one thing on your to-do list that you should not skip.
Well, Anita, thank you so much for joining The Wow. It's been a pleasure.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun. Bye.
Join Washington Salute and Fresh Vine Wine in supporting our troops this holiday season by using code USOWAS on any 3-bottle wine set, and 15% of proceeds from each sale will benefit USO Metro this holiday season. Show your support by visiting www.freshvinewine.com/USOWAS today.
You can hear every Washington football team game on the Team 980 and streaming on the radio.com app. Listen to Team 980 every day for expert analysis, Washington football guests, and your calls along with hosts Kevin Sheehan, Washington football legend Brian Mitchell, Steve Zabin, and more on the official radio of home of the Washington football team. Download the radio.com app and favorite the Team 980 today to listen on your phone or smart speaker. Wondering what's next on the Washington football team brand journey? Find out with our new timeline feature at washingtonjourney.com/timeline.
It's all-wheel drive season, and your local Honda dealers are bringing the best deals of the year. It's clearance pricing during the Happy Honda Days sales event. Dash through the snow in a rugged and adventurous Honda. Check out the entire all-wheel drive truck and SUV lineup. CRV, HRV, Ridgeline, Pilot, and Passport, with features like Honda Sensing, magic folding seats, and 3 different driving modes. Clearance pricing is here, but it won't last long. Don't miss clearance pricing at the Happy Honda Days sales event, now at your local Honda dealer.
Couchgating is the new tailgating presented by DC Lottery. Enter to win a chance at a Washington football team DC Lottery fan pack. Celebrate your couchgating by sharing a photo using the hashtag CouchgatingDCL. To have your couchgating photo featured on the Couchgating Wall of Fame, please post your photos on social media using the tags Washington NFL, DC Lottery, and the hashtag CouchgatingDCL for consideration. Please note that not all photos will be accommodated on the Couchgating Wall of Fame, and all couchgating photos are posted at the sole discretion of the Washington football team.
Okay, you are now relevant. You've earned that. You've earned that. Do not let anybody take that away from you. You have earned it. For all we have put up, for everything that we've had to deal with, you have earned the right to be the first place team in the NFC East. Yes, sir. That's who you are. Okay? So I'm going to tell you right now, act like it. Be professional, understand what it takes to be a professional, and do the professional thing. And understand this. Nobody, and I promise you, nobody wants to play us. I promise you that right now. We're on the roll, we're doing things the right way. Continue to work and do the things you need to do, guys, and you give yourselves an opportunity to be very, very special, okay? Let's stay on point. Stay on point. Now, here we go. Team ball 3. 1, 2, 3, team!
I have chills just listening to it again. There's parts of it that I just like written down. I just keep reliving in my head. But my favorite thing that he said is act like it. You know, you're professionals. You've earned this. Act like it. Something that I tell my cheerleaders, and I just tell myself daily, is pressure is a privilege. So whenever I get overwhelmed and I'm stressed out, like I've earned the right to feel this way, and I have to now act upon that. And I love that coach is chanting that to them. Like, don't let anyone say you're irrelevant. You are relevant. You are here. You're professionals. You're number one. Now let's act like it.
Yeah, that speech is fantastic. I have to say, there was a quote too. He has a saying: the best team has a great sense of family. The best family has a great sense of culture. And within that, culture is tremendous character. And we touched on this in the beginning about how this change, the players are coming together, no I in team. When we would go on tours with some of our Super Bowl greats, that's what they would say. Ricky Sanders, Mike Nelms, Reggie Branch, they would say we were a team. It wasn't just one player. We weren't, it wasn't the individual. And I feel like we're coming back to that, which is so amazing. And I can't wait for these Super Bowl players to be super proud of us, like we're proud of our team right now.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. And I feel like it's, obviously within the team, but then that expands out to the fans and to the community, like, because everyone is excited about what we're seeing. We're excited about what we're hearing, like having the insight into that locker room and being able to hear what Coach Rivera says to pump up the team, then pumps us up. Mm-hmm. And he keeps it real. Like, hey, we're number one. No one really wants to play us. We are the team that people want to avoid, but don't let it go to your head.
Right. What have you done for me lately is what he said.
Exactly.
Janet.
You still have to stay professional and you still have to stay focused, right? We earned this win, but we have to do more work. And so that's just how we should live every single day of our life. Yes, let's pat ourselves on the back for our accomplishments, but at the end of the day, we have to keep it going because a win is not guaranteed the next time. And so I love it. I think it's good for, obviously the team because it's working well, but it's good for us too.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, I wake up just jazzed for the week, and not just because we're winning. I mean, that's great, but it's just like hearing Coach Ron Rivera say these things, seeing Chase Young FaceTiming his mom after that victory. I mean, I'm just like proud. I'm living in it. I'm just living for it. I'm living in it. I also loved something else I wanted to comment on is Chase Young commenting on Kobe Bryant and this Mamba mentality. He thinks to himself, yeah, I'm proud of this, but like, what else I need to do to keep going? I put my head down, I keep working because I'm not satisfied. That's just one win and one milestone on the path to what else I'm trying to accomplish. And that is what we need to see. There are some standout players. Look at Terry McLaurin. He hit 1,000-yard milestone in that game. And it's just big, impactful things that are happening with young players, but you're not that we're not getting swept up in those little moments, but it's this whole full, well-rounded team that we're seeing. And it's just all coming together. It's exactly what Coach Ron Rivera said was going to happen. And we're seeing it right now. And I'm a believer.
Yes, me too. And it's so exciting. I can't wait, obviously, for the next game and the next game after that to see where this takes us. But it also just gives us so much excitement and optimism for next season as well. Like, I know we're still in this season and we want to do our best now. But I just have a very true optimistic outlook, not I'm a diehard burgundy and gold fan trying to be positive outlook, because that's how I've been the past decade almost. Yes, but it's like in my soul, like excited about, what's to come. So it's wonderful. It's a great feeling. And it's wonderful to be able to brag on your team.
Yeah. I wear my beanie proud. I have the W beanie, the winter hat that all of the players are wearing on the sideline. I'm wearing that. I'm wearing the mask. I'm wearing the shirt. I'm one of those people that are wearing more than one piece, which you're not supposed to do apparently, but I'm wearing it all proudly at the grocery store. But we also, before we wrap this up, we want to give a huge thank you to our WOW family. I see that we raised $320 for the My Calls, My Cleat for the WOW cleat that will go to the Women's HQ. So that is a huge accomplishment. And we want to thank the Washington football team family and the WOW members for sure. Coming up next week on the WOW, we have the honor and privilege of chatting with Washington's punter, Tressway. His wife, Brianna, will be joining us. We're going to learn more about what holidays will look like this year in their household, potentially with the playoff run and during COVID. So that's going to be a really fun one. So don't miss that. That's coming out next week during the holidays. That's going to do it for us. This was a fun one. Thanks for joining the WOW, where we connect and empower women through sports, brought to you by Fresh Fine Wine. Till next time, enjoy this win.
Go Washington.
Go team.
Get your Pro Bowl vote in.
For more than 100 years, Chesapeake Employers Insurance has been helping Maryland businesses keep their workers safe. With competitive pricing and an AM Best A- financial strength rating, it's no surprise that Chesapeake Employers is Maryland's largest writer of workers' comp insurance.
At the end of every workday, someone's waiting for your safe return.
Connect with your agent or visit CEIWC.com.
Reliable power from Novec keeps us connected to so many good things. Life-saving equipment and life-affirming moments depend on reliable, safe electricity that keeps us plugged in and powered up. And as a not-for-profit cooperative owned by the people it serves, Novec keeps rates low and service high. Novec, keeping life bright.
And now, time for a Happy Honda Days clearance highlight. The season had grown cold, and the roads were covered in ice. Looking to capitalize on clearance pricing, Amy went down to her local Honda dealer and test drove the entire all-wheel drive SUV lineup. CRV, HRV, Passport, and more. In the end, Amy got a clearance deal on a new Pilot equipped with 3 different driving modes. Boom, baby, boom.
Don't miss clearance pricing at the Happy Honda Days sales event, now at your local Honda dealer. Fred, this was so nice of us to share Maryland Lottery scratch-offs with our neighbors. Happy holidays, Selena.
What's this? Scratch-offs? Cool, thanks.
Your tuba is a nice touch, Fred. Well, 5 more neighbors to visit. What's wrong? Your lips are frozen to the tuba?
This year, multiply the cheer. Give holiday multiplier scratch-offs from the Maryland Lottery. Top prize $100,000. Please play safely and responsibly.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports-watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.